Very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and across the world. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the stories making headlines at the top of 8. Double breakthrough for security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. 3 Hizbul militants, including its chief recruiter, killed in Shopian. Top Jaish commander killed in North Kashmir. Prime Minister stresses on need to develop energy infrastructure and access to energy in eastern India. Interacts with the CEOs of top global and Indian oil and gas companies. Election Commission team led by CEC meets representatives of various political parties in Gujarat to meet the top officials of the state administration today to assess poll preparedness. Ten people killed as parts of California's wine region is ravaged. Fast-spreading fires, 1,500 properties destroyed, mass evacuations underway. And Colombia defeats India in the Under-17 World Cup, hosts go down 2-1. But Ajikson Thonajam scores even first ever World Cup goal for India. Our top stories from Jammu and Kashmir. In a major breakthrough to the security forces, 3 top Hizbul Mujahideen militants, including its chief recruiter Zahid, were killed in an encounter in Shopian district. The militants were killed in the Kelar area of Shopian in South Kashmir. Now, those killed, including Zahid, who is the chief recruiter of the Hizbul Mujahideen in the Kashmir Valley. The other 2 have been identified as Irfan and Ashif. And another major breakthrough for the security forces in Jammu and Kashmir, a top Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist commander, Umer Khalid, has also been killed in a Ladura area of North Kashmir. Now, one of the most wanted terrorists, Umer Khalid, was killed in a joint operation by the Jammu and Kashmir Police's Special Operation Group, local police, the CRPF and the army. Now, Khalid, who is a Pakistani national, had been operational in the area for the last 2 to 3 years, and he was also instrumental in arranging recruits for the terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed. Police also claimed that he had recently carried out an attack on the special police officer and a 7-year-old son at Handwara. Khalid was a A++ category ranked terrorist and he carried a cash reward of nearly 7 lakh rupees.
ये इन्वॉल्व सिविलियन किलिंग्स, पुलिस पर्सनल किलिंग और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पे अटैक में भी मुलव्विस रहा है और इसने कई फिदाइन अटैक्स और उसमें भी इसने अपना प्लानिंग में और उसके एग्जीक्यूशन में इसका काफ़ी रोल रहा है.
Meanwhile, in another encounter with terrorists, an army soldier was killed in Kag area of Badgam district. The slain soldier has been identified as the Subedar Raj Kumar, a junior commissioned officer of a 24 Punjab regiment. And China on Monday expressed a readiness to jointly maintain peace along the border areas with India. It also said that Nathula, the frontier post visited by Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, was the best witness to the UK-China Treaty of 1890. Defence Minister Sitharaman had a brief conversation with the Chinese soldiers during her maiden visit to the Nathula border post in Sikkim on Sunday. Beijing often referred to the 1890 Britain-China Treaty during the Doklam standoff, stating that it has defied the Sikkim section of the boundary with Tibet. Therefore, the border in that area has been settled. Sitharaman's interaction with the People's Liberation Army troops at Nathula with the Namaste diplomacy also appears to have struck a chord, as a Chinese commentator said that it sent a goodwill signal to mend the bilateral ties following the Doklam standoff. On to some other news now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held discussions with the CEOs of top global and Indian oil and gas companies on ways to revive investment in oil and gas exploration and production. Companies that took part in the meeting included BP from UK, Russia's Rosneft and Saudi's Aramco and Reliance Industries. The main theme of the meeting was to seek investment in exploration and production, processing, transportation and distribution network in oil and gas. Prime Minister Modi also thanked Russia and Saudi Arabia for their cooperation in the energy sector. He stressed the need to develop energy infrastructure and access to energy in East India. He flagged the potential of biomass energy and also invited participation and joint ventures in coal. The Niti Aayog also made a short presentation on the likely scenario of demand and supply by 2030 and the current government policies.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने एनर्जी स्ट्रैटेजी को बताते हुए कहा कि भारत वर्टिकल ग्रोथ के साथ साथ हॉरिजॉन्टल ग्रोथ भी कर रहा है। ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट, ज़्यादा कैपेसिटी, नया टेक्नोलॉजी, ये सब आना स्वागत है, लेकिन एनर्जी सामान्य लोगों के घर तक पहुंचे, इसलिए हॉरिजॉन्टल ग्रोथ भी हो, ये भारत की एक प्रमुख स्ट्रैटेजी रहा है।
And Finance Minister Arunjaitley is on a week-long trip to the United States. The Finance Minister is leading an official delegation to participate in the annual meetings of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. And on the first leg of the visit, Jaitley is in New York. He addressed the US investors there on the recent economic reform initiatives by the government. Later in the day, the Finance Minister will also participate in the roundtable meeting of the CEOs of USIBC CII. Jaitley will deliver a lecture on FDI achievements and challenges at the Columbia University before leaving for Boston. On to some other news. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu met Lithuania's Foreign Minister Linas Linkevicius on Monday. Now, he's on a 4-day visit to India. A high-level delegation also accompanied the minister at the meeting held at the Vice President's house. The delegation discussed bilateral ties between India and Lithuania and highlighted similarities between their language and Sanskrit. The visit marks the celebration of 25 years of diplomatic relations between India and Lithuania. President Ram Nath Kovind on Monday presented the Samant to senior citizens and institutions working for the welfare of the elderly at an event organized by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in the national capital. The President underlined the fact that average life expectancy has increased in the recent decades due to improvement in health services and other reasons, and it is estimated that by 2050, the number of senior citizens will be approximately 19% of our total population. Now, mentioning that elderly people sometimes face neglect and are also abandoned, he opined that the age-old Indian tradition of a joint family should continue for the betterment of the society. President Kovind also said that the awards will help motivate the generation to understand the contribution of elderly people in building the society and the nation. Now, commuters using Delhi Metro will have to spend more from their pockets from today as the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation has confirmed price hike for tickets. The decision for the fare hike was taken after the meeting of the Delhi Metro Fare Fixation Committee on Monday. The confirmation comes after DMRC earlier refused to defer metro fare hike despite Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's opposition to it. However, the Delhi government has passed a resolution against the fare hike in the Assembly. Meanwhile, opposition BJP has demanded an annual grant of 3,000 crore rupees from the state government for the withdrawal of the proposed metro fare hike. The metro fares were last revised in May when the minimum tariff was raised from 8 rupees to 10 rupees.
किराया बढ़ गया है इस टाइम, आज से ज़्यादा हो चुका है। ये बहुत दिक्कत है आने जाने में। इतना 120 रुपये कहाँ से लगाएंगे हम लोग? गरीब आदमी हैं हम लोग, परेशानी बहुत है। कैसे सफ़र करेंगे मेट्रो का? अब बस से ही आना पड़ेगा।
सर, अब जेब से एटलीस्ट महीने के महीने के 600-700 या 1000 रुपये तक ज़्यादा बजट पे असर पड़ेगा। जो हमारी सैलरी है उसमें इतने रुपये का डिडक्शन होगा कन्वेंस के नाम पे। पहले तो जो होता ही था। अब हमें 10 रुपया शायद बढ़ा है। अभी मैंने चेक किया नहीं, पहले मुझे 20 रुपया लगता था, अब शायद 25 हुआ होगा या कुछ ऐसा ही होगा। तो ऑटोमेटिकली उसका किराया बढ़ने से हमारे ऊपर भी तो असर पड़ेगा ही।
हाँ, दिल्ली मेट्रो का किराया तो बढ़ाया, खैर ये तो क्रोनोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट है ही है, थोड़ा बहुत बढ़ना चाहिए, लेकिन जिस हिसाब से बढ़ा एकदम से वजन, तो वो थोड़ा सा पब्लिक को या इवन मुझे भी थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट नहीं हो एब्जॉर्ब नहीं हो पा रहा। तो थोड़ा धीरे धीरे करके बढ़ाते तो सही रहता। इस तरह से एकदम से 50%, फिर अब अक्टूबर में बढ़ने की बता रहे हैं कि बढ़ाया जाएगा, तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा एकदम बर्डन होता है। और आप
ये मेट्रो में जो एक महीने में तीसरी बार किराया बढ़ाई, ये तो गलत है। इतना तो हम काम भी नहीं करते जितना हमारा पैसा किराए में निकल जाता है। मैं जस्ट झंडे वालान से चढ़ी और मेरा 4 स्टेशन में ही 16 रुपये कट गए। अगर मतलब 16 रुपये प्लस हम आगे भी कन्वेंस करके आते हैं तो हमें तो तनख्वाह में कुछ नहीं पड़ता ना, तो ये हमारे लिए तो गलत है।
And today is the second and the last day of the nationwide truck operators strike. The strike has been called by truckers' body, the All India Transporters Welfare Association, to protest against GST, high diesel prices and harassment on roads. Several other transport bodies have also supported the strike. As many as 90,000 trucks and other goods carriers are kept off the roads due to the symbolic strike. Now, according to transporters, the strike affected businesses of about 4,000 crore rupees and is expected to have a negative impact on the supply of necessary commodities such as milk and vegetables, among others. Truck operators have been demanding concessions on GST and a reduction in the prices of diesel, besides protesting against what they call is oppression and corruption among road transport officers in different states of the country. And on Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Pipla in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back after the break. Now, the Chief Election Commissioner met representatives of various political parties in Gujarat, that is heading for the polls. The Election Commission team, led by the CEC, A.K. Jyoti, is on a visit to the state to review the preparedness for the elections in the state. The BJP, during its meeting, demanded that the polls be held after 14th of December, as the period between 5th of December and 14th of December is considered auspicious for marriages. It also said that the arrangements should be made so that the items seized by the EC before the polls were returned on time. The Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party voiced a demand for a random count of the voter verifiable paper audit trail slips and that it be digitally established that the VVPAT machines were working properly. The Congress also demanded that tainted officers be debarred from being deployed on election duty. The CEC also flagged off a mobile EVM VVPAT demonstration centre. The EC officials are scheduled to meet top officials of the state administration today. And Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi on Monday began his 3-day yatra from Ahmedabad in Gujarat. He visited the birthplace of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in Kheda in Nandiyad district. Later in the address in Kheda, Congress Vice President said that development will be achieved only if his party forms a government in the upcoming elections. He also said that while China is creating 50,000 jobs every day, Modi government is able to generate just 450 jobs per day.
गुजरात में कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार आएगी, हम आपको अपनी मन की बात नहीं बताएंगे, हम आपकी मन की बात सुनेंगे। देश के सामने सबसे बड़ी चुनौती रोजगार की है। 2-3 आंकड़े मैं आपको देना चाहता हूं। हर 24 घंटे 30,000 नए युवा हिंदुस्तान में रोजगार ढूंढने निकलते हैं। बेरोजगार लोगों की सेना बन रही है। 30,000 में से 24 घंटे में मोदी जी की सरकार 450 युवाओं को रोजगार देती है। चीन के साथ हमारा मुकाबला है। एक दिन में चीन में 50,000 युवाओं को रोजगार मिलता है। चीन में 50,000 और हिंदुस्तान में 450, ये फर्क है।
On to some other news now. The Gujarat High Court on Monday commuted the death sentence of 11 convicts in the 2002 Godhra train carnage case to life imprisonment. It also upheld the life sentence awarded by the Special SIT Court to 20 others in the case. Details of the verdict in this report.
More than 2 years after the hearing concluded in the Godhra train burning case, the Gujarat High Court on Monday pronounced the judgment on a clutch of appeal petitions challenging the special trial court sentencing. Upholding the findings of the special trial court, the division bench of the Gujarat High Court commuted capital punishment to rigorous life imprisonment for 11 convicts and upheld life sentence for 20 others.
11 आदमी से जिनको फांसी की सजा हुई थी उसको कम्यूट करके नामदार हाई कोर्ट ने उसको लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट कर दिया है.
The court also held that the state government had failed in discharging its duty in maintaining law and order during the incident. It also directed the state and the railways to compensate families of those killed in the train fire.
कॉम्पेंसेशन में नामदार हाई कोर्ट ने 10 लाख रुपया जो गुजर गए उनको 10 लाख रुपया और बाकी लोग जो इजा हुई थी उनको उनकी इजा के हिसाब से वर्ता देने का हुक्म किया हुआ है.
The judgment was hailed by Muslim groups, although they said they plan to go to the Supreme Court for acquittal.
अदालतें इंसाफ करती हैं, जैसा कि तब्दीली हुई है निचली अदालत के फैसले को हाई कोर्ट ने जो फांसी की सजा थी उसको उम्र कैद में तब्दील किया है, तो इंसाफ मिला और हम समझते हैं कि हम आगे जाएंगे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाएंगे तो वहाँ इससे ज़्यादा हमको इंसाफ मिलेगा और ये सब लोग बरी होंगे.
The BJP said it's glad that the court accepted the findings of the SIT that a conspiracy was hatched by the accused a day before the arrival of the Sabarmati Express train.
जिस तरह से आरोपियों को सजा दी है, इसका मतलब जो कांग्रेस ने एक जानबूझकर एक फर्जीवाड़ा किया था एक कमीशन के तहत कि भाई यह अंदर से आग लगी थी, हादसा था, यानी मर गए बेचारे उन्हीं को दोष देने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. यहाँ मैंने जो देखा है तो मुझे लगता है कि कोर्ट का मतलब है कि ये बाहर से हमला हुआ और ये जो हमला हुआ ये एक साजिश थी, ये कोर्ट ने आज माना है. यही मुख्य मुद्दा है.
On 27 February 2002, coach number S6 of the Sabarmati Express train was torched by a mob at Godhra railway station, in which 59 people, mostly car sevaks, were burned to death. A day later, the incident triggered widespread communal riots in various parts of Gujarat. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some good news: it will be a cleaner Diwali in Delhi and its surrounding areas this year. The Supreme Court has banned the sale of firecrackers till 1st of November, saying that it wants to assess the impact on the air quality. It did not clarify that those who have already bought firecrackers can still burst them on 19th of October.
Supreme Court has imposed a complete ban on the sale of firecrackers in Delhi and NCR ahead of Diwali. The ban will remain in effect till October 31st. The order came on a plea seeking restoration of last year's order in which the Apex Court had suspended all licenses that allowed the sale of fireworks within NCR.
Well, the Supreme Court has said that its last year's order of 11th November banning the sale of firecrackers in Delhi will continue to take effect till 31st of October 2017. That means all temporary and permanent licenses in Delhi to sell firecrackers immediately stand suspended forthwith, is what the Supreme Court has made very clear.
The SC bench, headed by Justice A.K. Sikri, also said that the top court's September 12th order of temporarily lifting the stay and permitting sale of firecrackers would be effective from the 1st of November. The court, however, said its order of lifting the ban might require a review after Diwali, depending on the ambient air quality after the festival.
10 बजे तक चलें, 11 बजे तक चलने चाहिए, पोल्यूशन वाले नहीं चलने चाहिए। ये हमारे हिंदुस्तान का एक ऐतिहासिक पर्व है, इसको ज़रूर मनाना चाहिए और रोक एक लिमिट तक ही होनी चाहिए अगर है भी है।
इससे बीमारियां भी बहुत हो रही हैं, लोगों को दिक्कत भी हो रही है, तो मैं भी यही चाहूँगा कि सब लोग गवर्नमेंट का फैसला माने और पोल्यूशन से बचें।
कोर्ट ने ये बैन लगाया तो बिल्कुल ठीक लगाया है, पोल्यूशन दिवाली के बाद बहुत हो जाता है।
Last year, air quality in NCR plunged to severe levels the morning after Diwali. The rest of the season saw Delhiites choking and coughing their way with the PM 2.5 levels reaching 199, 16 times over the safe limit of 60. Reactions across Delhi have been mixed. While a few Delhiites claim the Festival of Lights will lose its essence, cracker manufacturers call it a drastic step that would impact livelihoods. But environmentalists have hailed the SC's move. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And over to news relating to the funding of political parties. The Delhi High Court has granted a 6 months' time to the centre to look into the accounts of political parties, including the Congress and the BJP, for the traces of foreign funds. A 2-judge bench of the High Court said that this was the last opportunity being given to the Ministry of Home Affairs for the compliance of its 2014 judgment. The court found that both the BJP and the Congress were flouting norms of the FCRA by accepting donations from Indian subsidiaries of the UK-based Vedanta Resources. In March 2014, the High Court had ordered the Election Commission and the Ministry of Home Affairs to look into the accounts of political parties and take action within 6 months. But the MHA had sought an extension of time till 31st of March 2018 to comply with the court's directions. Let's get to some international news. 10 people have been killed as parts of California's wine region are being ravaged by fast-spreading fires. Mass evacuations have taken place and at least 1,500 properties have been destroyed. 7 people were killed in Sonoma County, 1 in Mendocino County and 1 in Napa County. More than 100 people are being treated at various hospitals for fire-related injuries or health issues, including burns, smoke inhalation and shortness of breath. About 20,000 people fled from 8 counties after some of the state's worst ever wildfires broke out. The governor of California has declared an emergency. Tens of thousands of acres have already been destroyed in at least 14 fires, making it one of the most destructive outbreaks California has seen. The fires are particularly fast-spreading because of the combination of high winds and hot, dry weather. It is not yet known how the fires started on Sunday night.
The wind-driven event, this fire changes behavior very rapidly and is moving throughout the area. So that's why we've expanded the evacuation orders, and we just ask people to heed those warnings.
50-mile-an-hour winds pushing the flaming front. When it was hitting these impacted communities, literally it's burning into the city of Santa Rosa and burning department stores, burning box stores, impacting hospitals. It was literally move people from out of the front of the path of this fire. Fighting the fire at that time was not going to be possible just due to the intensity and how rapid that fire was spreading.
More news from the United States. The head of the country's Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, on Monday said that President Donald Trump's administration will move to repeal his predecessor Barack Obama's plan to restrict greenhouse gas emissions. Speaking in Kentucky at a political event, EPA chief said that he would a proposed rule today to withdraw the so-called Clean Power Plan of the past administration. Pruitt also said that the rule enacted in 2015 was about picking winners and losers. The Clean Power Plan sought to reduce carbon emissions in the United States from power plants for the first time. Prior to the finalization of rules in August 2015, power plants were allowed to dump unlimited amounts of carbon pollution into the atmosphere. No rules were in effect that limited their emissions of carbon dioxide, the primary driver of global warming. The standards were developed under an act of Congress called the Clean Air Act. And US economist Richard Thaler has won the Nobel Prize for Economics for his contribution in the field of behavioral economics. The award-giving body said that Thaler was given the Nobel for his pioneering work to bridge the gap between economics and psychology. The jury said by exploring the consequences of limited rationality, social preferences and lack of self-control, Thaler had shown how these human traits systematically affect individual decisions as well as market outcomes. The Nobel Committee said that Thaler has made economics more human and his theories help people make better economic decisions.
I guess it's a significant prize because it puts the spotlight on basic research contributions and applications that have been truly revolutionary.
My mantra is if you want to get people to do something, make it easy. Remove the obstacles. So if we want people to use less energy, figure out ways to make that easy.
And on to sports now. Colombia defeated India in the ongoing FIFA Under-17 World Cup at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi. The hosts lost to visitors by 2-1. For India, midfielder Jackson Thanujam scored the country's first ever World Cup goal. This is the second defeat for Team India in the ongoing series. Earlier, India had lost to US 0-3. India will now play Ghana in their last group game, while Colombia gets ready to face the United States. And in cricket, India will take on Australia in the second T20 international match in Guwahati today. Comprehensive winners in the first T20 international match, India would aim to extend their domination, while Australia would be eyeing a change of fortunes. The hosts have defeated the visitors by 9 wickets in the 3-match series in Ranchi on 6th of October. And that's it for me and my team in this edition of News. Thanks so much for watching.